union hours.
We need job,
Where's that town fire?
Okay, let's go. Thanks for waiting.
Okay, so obviously we had scenario one.
Speak up, please.
Sorry, we had scenario one, obviously looking at Bob and Linda and doing their tiny house on wheels, looking at having a students looking at that as they live in proximity to a university. So I guess in working through it, looking at key challenges and barriers, I guess the key one for me is just there's a lack of information available to people like Bob and Linda about how they can go about establishing tiny house on wheels. So our, I guess, preferred implementation plan, looking at a solution to that, which would be applicable not to just Bob and Linda, but to anyone in their situation. Sort of, we looked at forming and we came up with the concept of tiny home takeaway shop, which is essentially like a broad industry association, I guess, with based around the concept of being a one-stop shop for doing these tiny houses on wheels, from sort of concept to completion on the ground. So it would have information about planning approval processes and planning process, building approval processes, builders available, suppliers, as well as financing options. More sort of high-level sense, we also came up with a concept that it's clear that there's a lot of inconsistency between LGAs at the moment in the approach to these tiny houses, and a function of this tiny home takeaway or whatever this association is would be lots of advocacy work, really forming a position state or a position on tiny houses and then advocating that to the state government, to local governments, really trying to get their buy-in, so we can get some consistency and certainty around the process that needs to be established if you're wanting to do something like this.
The other thing that we would challenge by is the just basic feasibility. If you got, even if you could refinance your home, we've had a line of credit capability there. If you're going into having 3 kids and one of the partners is going to be a full-time parent, then you may struggle with financing it with a traditional finance model. So we looked at, what could you do with AFSLs and private finance, or housing association type finance models, and where you've got capital partners that are looking at doing like what Oscar wanted to do in a commercial sense for buildings. Could you do that in housing? We couldn't get that to stack up on any model we looked at. So there would have to be potentially a grant for housing kind of capability for that to work. But that's something we think could be worth investigating for community housing associations rather than this model. So even though it didn't really apply to this, we think there's a model for that. One of the reasons I think there's a model for that is you can get cheaper finance at a super fund level for an AFSL to do specific housing for an investment type super fund. That might be a cash flow strategy to get the capital to get the housing stock. So a tiny house company, like we've got 2 companies in this group, they may have housing stock which is provided just for community housing partnerships that partner with local communities that have a great town planner like we've got in our table, who understands the needs, wants to get density. We've got partnerships who have local, available stock and idle assets in land. Maybe they could partner together, and there could be a string that actually meant that our couple in this situation could provide maybe community housing for their little idle asset in their backyard, maybe a small revenue for them, but it just meant that their little need was met. I just couldn't stack it up financially for this particular situation, but I think there is potentially an outcome there that could be great for community housing associations and tiny housing companies, but also fund investments. And there are a few AFSLs floating around looking to do exactly that.
It's borderline, isn't it?
It is borderline.
It's like if you're looking at an affordable rate of, 162, like based on price, like it's close to working. So I guess if you had like the importer saying, look, so much needs to be spent on affordable housing, we need to house these people. So some of this money is they're getting helped out plus coming out of their rent. That could be close to working and Bob and Linda could still make what they need with minimal fuss. No upfront investment because they just call up the one-stop shop tiny home providers and say, we've got a backyard, we've filled out the checklist, we emailed you the forms, we are eligible and we are ready. And then the provider says, yep, we've got a house in stock that'll suit. They say, yep, we've got a tenant ready. We'll be dropping off the tenant and the house tomorrow.
It sounds crazy, but I think we talked about a couple of scenarios where if you're a community housing, yeah, well, you might explain the checklist.
Well, actually, I would like to talk about another element of it, which is the advocacy element. But Andy, do you want to talk while we're still on money, where the money's coming from, where it's going?
Yeah, really, Ruth sort of touched on it a little bit. So either they draw the capital out of the house or whatever, but they're going to struggle because if she's off for maternity leave or whatever, even a scenario where they refinance or whatever, they're going to struggle to pay back the line of credit or whatever if they have diminished income, even if they're getting some income from the tiny house when it goes through. But part of the roadblock here in financing is that you can only get asset financing now, which is in double digits. And that's partly because it isn't classified as a thing, and that's partly back to councils and planning because it's not a thing. So I think as soon as they put it in the box and they have a checkbox that they can tick whenever they say, okay, now that's a thing, then councils can now charge fees and permits and different subsidies or whatever on the tiny houses. Then all of a sudden financing comes on board. Then all of a sudden insurance says, okay, that's a thing. We know how to insure that. We know how to fund that. And if you look at a traditional finance model where you can amortize over 25 or 30 years, not over 7 years at double digits, then and this is the problem where it started to stack up is when you start looking at financing it like a boat or a jet ski or whatever, and you can only do it over 7 years, you're paying just as much for a tiny house as you are for a bricks and mortar house, right? And so that was a big roadblock. But all of a sudden, if you have a thing over here and then you can finance that thing over here and you can use it at 3.5% or 4%, whatever rates are today, and you bring that down and amortize that over a longer period of time. Now all of a sudden you're looking at $650 a month kind of thing at kind of $100,000 sort of median price, and all of a sudden that becomes quite affordable, right? So that was just sort of one of the barriers, but.
Yeah, so I really wanted to talk about advocacy because I was really struck by an anecdote Andy had about building on the Gold Coast with the local council kind of response to in a beachfront area.
Yeah, so in the Gold Coast, they have a minimum building envelope size. So you got John next door that lives on Jefferson Avenue on the beach that has a $5.5 million mansion or whatever, and there's a vacant block in the middle that somebody's just land banking. They obviously don't want a little 22 square meter tiny house sitting there with the same outlook that they do. It's kind of like somebody with a super yacht and a TV sitting next door. They're both looking at the same beautiful ocean, but at the end of the day, it's poo because we got 4.5 on one side and 5.5 on the other, and $100,000 in the middle, right? So it's kind of bringing down the value of the neighborhood kind of thing. So.
Yeah, so I thought what really is coming up here is like political advocacy, and if you've got just a Bob and Linda person, they don't get very far because it's just an individual and probably they've got lots of family commitments. They may not feel confident with engaging with the media. Whereas if you have this one-stop shop, they're definitely going to have more power. They're going to be having access to expertise when it comes to leveraging political power, which will then, if we're lucky, say, we have Northern Bay that comes on board and says, yeah, we'll have a tiny house, and the tiny home people can say to Logan or Brisbane or Gold Coast, look, it's working here, here's a model that works. They can advertise it through the popular media and have, interesting stories, and it just will facilitate change more quickly.
Okay. Is your big question then the finance question? The question of financial models?
Two things, I think, planning and finance.
Planning and finance.
Yeah, pathways to finance, pathways to regulation. Whether it be, we think there's a middle ground with the regulation report, which might be a permit which could come down to federal states where you could say, hey, every LGA has two tick boxes to basically go through a permit for a period of time, and those may need to be a particular provider, so a registered tiny house, manufacturer or someone who at least deals to a certain guideline for construction.
So that's another thing that we discussed in depth too, was the various different permits. So if council's relying on a provider having a permit to build them, then the regulations for the construction of them also need to be clarified, because there are certain things in the construction code that may not apply in certain tiny house situations, and it's tricky to be able to then meet those unless there's sort of an agreement that it's okay if you don't meet all of them. Like we were talking about Section J or various different environmental codes and how you can't in certain situations, and that's kind of problematic. So it sort of filters down to the next question about how you meet the construction codes, how you meet the planning, how you keep the planners happy, how you keep various different levels of council and government happy, and keep banks happy if they're going to line on it. So we came up with one council big set of relationships, and
How do you supplement Baldwin? So how much does Baldwin living at? Like, are they able to survive the problem?
if they own it, they can get.
Well, $650 a month potentially, right?
Okay. That's. I was sure if that was what you were paying to the bank, or if that was.
That's
Okay.
You said it does.
It's under finance, 60 months. That's what the access.
Yeah, so they're not in profit at that point, right?
Okay.
But if they charge like $200 a week, let's say, they would be in profit by $150 a week, right? Now, is that enough to supplement their income?
And is the market going to accept that rate? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's fine.
That's the part that didn't stack out, right?
Okay, well, that's all very interesting. We've got time for maybe one question or comment.
Are we actually renting them out? Like, you're a tiny house company, you might actually not, they don't own the tiny house, but they might give you $5,000, for example, that's not much. And then you guys build it, you own it, you put it on their land.
They trash it.
Leasing, and then, no, they don't trash it, there's all insurance, it's all covered under insurance. And they get something and you get something.
Yeah.
We looked at the leasing option, it doesn't stack up very well either.
Right.
It does if you're a Bosco modular and you've got a big commercial lease, it's only 6 months and it's on site for a construction period or something like that. And they make good money on that sort of model. But I think
And it can stop as well.
yeah, and affordable housing. See, they do a Bosco modular don't have to have that sort of quality of house. It's a little basic dogma type thing for a construction site. They might cost them 30, 40 grand. They sell at a much more commercial grade. So that it kind of stacks up. This one's too borderline.
Yeah.
For that one.
Okay, well, keep it all in mind. We've got more time for discussion later. Thank you.